First published in 1997, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is a groundbreaking book that has transformed the way millions perceive and manage their finances. I personally consider it a must-have in every personal library for anyone who wants to achieve financial freedom and build a prosperous future. The book itself consists of 10 chapters. In this video, I will summarize 5 of them, which I consider to be the most important ones. Number 1, rich people don't work for money. The story of 9-year-old Robert Kiyosaki begins in the 1950s, when Robert and his friend Mike were curious boys with big ambitions. When they grew up, they wanted to become rich and make a lot of money. But just how they were going to accomplish that, they didn't actually know. So, after a failed attempt to produce coins from melted toothpaste tubes, the boys decided to get some advice. They asked their dads how they could start becoming rich. You might be able to guess what Robert's own well-educated but poor dad replied: "Go to school, study, and find a good job." It's familiar advice, but it's pretty misguided. If you follow guidance like this, you'll spend your entire life breaking your back to increase your pay, while others, the government, bill collectors, and your bosses, take most of the reward. Now, lots of people still follow Poor Dad's mantra, but many do it out of a sense of fear, a powerful sense of distress at the idea of violating the expectations that society drills into us. A good job is what leads to wealth, we're told. So we study hard as kids and work even harder as adults. The result? We may be avoiding poverty, but we're certainly not growing any wealthier. But there are some people who don't teach that mantra to their kids, people who know how money is created, increased, and maintained. Rich people, in other words. People like Mike's father, the rich dad who became a financial mentor to both boys. So what did Mike's dad suggest? At first, nothing. He made a deal with the young Kiyosaki, offering to teach him what he knew about money if the boy would work for him at the measly rate of 10 cents an hour. Robert agreed, but after a few weeks of being underpaid, the boy returned to his rich dad, seething with anger and ready to quit. "You've exploited me long enough," he said, "and you haven't even kept your promise. You taught me nothing about money in all those weeks." But there it was. His first lesson, delivered by his new mentor with a slight smile. He'd learned that working for money does not make you rich, which is why rich people don't work for money. So you might ask yourself, if the rich don't work for money, then how do they get wealthy? Through theft, maybe, or by winning the lotto? Number 2, the importance of financial education. Well, to answer your question, the rich become rich by making their money work for them. Instead of spending all their income on fripperies and luxuries, they invest a portion of it in assets of various types. And then, rather than working for money, they let their assets make money for them. Robert was still just a kid, and the word asset didn't belong in his vocabulary. But Mike's dad, the rich dad, was about to change all that. One day, he sat the boys down and explained to them that the rich buy assets, whereas the less well-off buy liabilities, often in the mistaken belief that it is, in fact, assets they're acquiring. In truth, an asset is anything that adds money to your wallet. A liability, on the other hand, is something that takes money away. This differentiation is very important, and not many people get it right. So let's look at an example. A house is often considered an asset, right? But actually, it's one of the biggest liabilities you can have. Buying a house often means working your entire life to pay off a 30-year mortgage and property taxes, meaning it takes money out of your wallet. A house bought with a mortgage works against you in 2 ways. First, you're guaranteed to have a massive expense taken away from your income every month for the next 360 months, and this is a telltale sign of a liability. Second, those 360 payments could have been invested in way more lucrative assets that put money in your wallet. Rich Dad phrased the lesson as simply as he could for the two boys. If you want to be rich, all you have to do is identify true assets and buy them. Spend your life buying liabilities, though, and you'll never make it. Rich Dad explained that a poor person's salary goes straight to covering immediate expenses like rent, tax, and food. A middle-class person's salary needs to cover similar expenses too, as well as liabilities like a mortgage, school loans, credit cards, and other forms of debt. But rich people, instead of needing a salary, their assets bring in enough money to provide for them and often leave them with enough to invest again, like stocks, bonds, or real estate you rent to tenants. The result of that reinvestment is that their income goes up once more, meaning that the rich keep getting richer. This is so important. I'm going to say it one more time. If you can keep your liabilities and expenses low, you'll be able to invest what's left over in assets and have your money work for you. Do that, and before long, you'll find yourself amassing a small fortune. Number 3, mind your own business. Minding your own business simply means tending to your own finances and making money also for yourself, not only your employer. In other words, making money through your portfolio of assets rather than through promotions, bonuses, and raises. When it comes to personal finances, though, there's a difference between your profession and your business. Your profession is whatever you do 40 hours a week to pay the bills, buy groceries, and cover other living costs. Usually, it gives you a specific title such as restaurant owner or sales manager. Your business, on the other hand, is what you invest time and money in to help grow your assets. When Robert was young, his poor dad advised him to focus on finding a secure and well-paying job. His rich dad, on the other hand, told him to start buying assets. Guess whose advice he took? Robert opened his first business at age 9, where he paid his friend's sister to rent out comic books to the kids in the neighborhood. Others did the work. He just collected the money. When he was older, he worked a day job too. In fact, he put in long hours as an employee of large companies like Xerox and Standard Oil of California, but all the while, he was keeping his expenses and liabilities low, investing what remained of his salary, and collecting a healthy portfolio of income-producing assets. That's how Kiyosaki learned to mind his own business. Sure, he had a job too, but what ultimately made him rich was the growth of his assets. The time he spent working for companies and investing his earnings taught him to think of his assets as his own employees. Every single dollar he put into assets was working for him, making him money even while he slept. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Well, if you want to get rich, adopt the same attitude. Odds are that your salary won't make you really wealthy, even with promotions and bonuses thrown in. What your salary can do is help you buy the assets that will enrich you. Number 4, work to learn, not to earn. When Robert graduated from college, he landed a steady and well-paying job almost immediately. For most people, it would have been a dream come true, and that's exactly how his educated but poor dad saw it. Not rich dad, though, and not Robert either. After about 6 months, he quit his job and joined the Marine Corps to learn how to fly. His poor dad was bewildered, but his rich dad congratulated him. Why? Not because he encouraged recklessness, but because he understood exactly what Robert was doing. He wasn't trying to make a steady salary. He was trying to learn. He was searching for work with something useful to teach him. His rich dad had drilled it into him. Knowing a little about a lot was important for anyone who wanted to make money. That's why Robert was working to learn, not just to earn. After all, making money was what his assets would be for. His poor dad couldn't understand. To his mind, Robert's behavior was the precise opposite of what made people money. You see, he was an academic man, intelligent and well-educated with a PhD. His path in life had taught him that it was specialization, not a broad base of skills and knowledge, that led to riches. In the academic world, the higher up you go and the more you learn, the narrower your topic of study. In much the same way, doctors are often eager to specialize in a single chosen field, like orthopedics or pediatrics, as soon as they graduate. For some people, specializing like that might make sense. It didn't help poor Dad, though, whose PhD never did much to boost his earnings. Rich Dad, on the other hand, had a broad base of knowledge, but never finished the 8th grade. That's why he encouraged young Robert and Mike to spend time in a whole host of different departments of his business empire. Over time, they worked in restaurants and construction, sales and marketing, accounts and reservations. The aim wasn't to find one single field they might like to spend their careers in. It was to equip them with the range of skills and knowledge necessary for growing rich. That's why this lesson from the book I consider to be the most important. Don't just work to earn. Working to learn is much more important. Number 5. Getting started. First of all, taking risks means not always being balanced and safe with your money, which is what you're doing when you put it in basic checking and savings accounts at the bank. Instead of playing it safe, try investing your money in stocks or bonds. While these are considered more risky than typical bank accounts, they have the chance of generating much, much more wealth. Sometimes, as is the case with stocks, this can happen in a very short period of time. Or if you don't want to commit yourself to the stock market, there are a number of other investments that will help grow your wealth in the long run. Take real estate or so-called tax lien certificates. With tax lien certificates, interest rates range between 8% and 30%, much higher than 0.21%, which was the average savings account interest rate for America in 2013. Of course, the higher the potential for return, the higher the risk. With stocks, for example, there's always the slight chance you could lose your entire investment. But if you don't take the risk in the first place, you're guaranteed not to make any big returns. So you see that taking those bigger chances and handling the bigger risks they present is necessary in order to start making a bigger income. It is what Rich Dad would want us to do. That was it for this video. Thanks everyone for watching. If you found it helpful, please leave your like and subscribe to my channel.